a Red Pill Morsel. So check it out, guys. Breaking news this morning: TJ Dillashaw, basically vacating the bantamweight belt. Um, you know, 135-pound division is now championless, and it's all due to the fact that there was some issues with his testing for USADA and New York State Athletic Commission. Actually, let me correct that. There was a testing issue. We're not sure if it was just a USADA test or a New York State athletic test or both. We don't really know. All we know is that they both have issue with the test. And so therefore, he is going to get truly, it's going to be an 8-month suspension. I hate when they do these ridiculous things. They say it's a 1-year suspension, but they backdate it to the last time he fought because he hasn't been in the octagon since then. That's a little bit ridiculous. I mean, if they're going to give him a 1-year suspension, it should be from the date that they release the results, not, all the way back to the testing date. So, first off, let's talk about what that means to Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo is the biggest loser in this proposition, in my personal opinion. And the reason why is that he clearly had plans to go up to 135 and try to capture that belt and prove his point, against Dillashaw. And now I don't think it would be wise of him, especially given the trouble that the 125-pound division has had in marketability, for him to stay out of the ring or out of the octagon for over a year or about a year before stepping up to that 135-pound division. Also, because TJ has now vacated the belt, essentially, he wouldn't be earning the belt, right? He'd just be beating TJ, which, while that is great, it's not part of the legacy, as they like to say, right? It's not part of the legacy that he didn't capture the title. So there's the issue there. Also, even if he were still to go up to the 135-pound division and fight for the belt, it's not going to boost his legacy in the same manner. Let's say he did kind of like what Max Holloway's doing now, and he steps up, take an interim title or take the vacated title, however you want to put it. And let's say he fought the, next man up at 135. That's really not going to help his legacy as much as beating TJ. Let's just be honest. A winner here is Garbrandt, because while he's been knocked out 3 times, and you could say that, the last one was his own mistake and he shouldn't have been in there. The next two, the two before that against Dillashaw, it could kind of put an asterisk by those KOs. Say, well, maybe TJ was, using banned substances at that point in time as well, But I find it super interesting that we did not get a TJ'esque comment on Twitter. We actually got a very, I'm not trying to be antagonistic. I'm not trying to be, diminish TJ. I'm just going by what we've seen out of TJ public eye generally. Generally speaking, when TJ speaks, when I say TJ-esque, I mean he's very confrontational. He's very out there. He's not very politically correct. He's not really concerned about how this looks in the PR. He's really even taken on that whole snake grass persona, and he's actually run with it and just been like, that's part of his brand now, right? So TJ is kind of a, I don't give a damn what people think of me type of guy. And he's always reacted that way in the public eye. And when it comes to his statements, I mean, let's even look at when he lost to Henry Cejudo. I don't think he really gave a whole lot of credit to Henry. He didn't. I mean, pretty much he talked about, I got knocked down. I got caught for a split second. I was right back in it. It was everybody else's fault. It was this fault. It was that fault. Oh, I should get a rematch. I should this. I didn't lose that fight. He kept saying it over and over, even with the proof right there in front of him, right? Even though, the whole world could watch the tape and see he got knocked down, basically put down 3 times. So while maybe it was a tiny bit of an early stoppage, the reality was that, come on, dude, you don't want an early stoppage. Don't get put down 3 times, right? If you want to see an excellent breakdown on it, check out the Weasel MMA Examiner channel. He does an outstanding breakdown of that particular knockout call. So with all of that, when we saw him lost to Dominic Cruz, he still didn't really accept that loss either, right? He came out and was like, oh, well, that wasn't him. That was me. It was everybody else. It wasn't that he's a better fighter. It wasn't this. It was that I made these mistakes. He didn't really give Cruz the respect that he should have given him, right? In my personal opinion, right? And when we watch TJ, when he's talking about things, TJ is quick to be like, not very PR, not very let's worry about marketing, very much like, wrong, not my fault, right? It's interesting to note that we did not get that TJ-esque response to this. He didn't give a denial. TJ Dillashaw did not deny the charges, did not deny that he used any kind of banned substance. He didn't deny it. Think about that for a second. He did not deny it. What he said was, me and my team need to figure out what happened. Me and my team need to examine and understand what happened. His comments were very, very calculated, very political. That's not how TJ generally responds to things. I follow TJ's Twitter because I really like some of the stuff he says. So I'm not going to sit here and say I listen or I read every single Twitter that he puts out, but I follow it, and I read a good chunk of his different Twitter. He when it comes to things like this, it comes to me. It seems to me that if he knew he was innocent of the charges, I don't think this TJ doesn't strike me as the type that sits back and says, or if he had a good idea, this was unintentional. TJ, I think, is the first to defend himself and jump up and be like, look, whatever they found, I'm not disputing that they found it. That being said, I am disputing that I knowingly used any of these substances, and we're going to prove that I did not cheat, right? I think TJ would come out and say that if that was the truth. But that's not what we got from TJ. We got a very carefully worded statement that basically insinuated that there may be, a mistake made in his supplements, but he didn't flat out come out and say it. He wasn't very TJ-esque as he generally is. And so for me, I'm sorry, but I really think that, there's going to be more to come. The whole idea that he even relinquished the belt 8 months from today to not fight, okay, is not a long layoff. A 1-year layoff is not very long. We've had champions take more time than that off before, and it's not a big deal. Right now at 135, I think he's fought all of the really big names that we really wanted him to fight. That's even why he went down to 125. So it wasn't as if the division couldn't have used a little bit of hyping between his fights. It's not like it couldn't have used it. So, that was just for him to relinquish the belt. It indicates to me that there's a possibility, because USADA could come out now, and actually, because it's the New York State Athletic Commission that's giving him the 1-year suspension, USADA could actually come out and give him up to, I believe, a 2-year suspension. So this indicates to me that Dillashaw was anticipating that it may be a longer suspension, and rather than be stripped of the title, he decided to relinquish the title. Or even if he would have, even if it was one of those things where the UFC, was stripping him, so he just decided to say, well, then I relinquish, right? Even if so, he wanted the public, opinion, the view, right, the perspective to be that he relinquished the belt. So I'm really, really interested to see what comes out, what they found. Okay. I don't know what they found yet, but I'm super interested to see. And I would not be surprised at all based on what TJ did not say. I would not be surprised to find out that it was an intentional use of a banned substance. All right, guys. That's all I got, man. We'll catch y'all later. Remember, be practical, be purposeful, get fit with a purpose, guys.